Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you all for being here. This week, this is an extra video. We still will be on the DIY stuff, obviously. Creality sent me the Falcon A1 engraver. And there's a reason I'm showing it on this channel is because hopefully I can start doing the glove box doors, the backs of the mirrors, the door handles, stuff like that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So we're gonna, as promised, they sent me the machine materials. They sent me, and I don't know what it's actually called. It's like an air box so that you don't have to exhaust it outside. So they sent me a really, really nice setup. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'll show the setup and how easy it is to work. And maybe we can have some fun in the future with some of our Volkswagen parts. But let's show how this machine works. All right, let's go ahead and unbox it. I'm going to speed some of this up, so give me 1 second here. Okay, so they had this packaged very, very well. I'm going to go ahead. I have the others to unbox, the air filter, but let's check this first. Let's take our protective film off. Well, they got it behind the handle, which is kind of weird. All right, there is the camera built in. That's just some packing foam, You have it packaged very well. There's our power supply. There's some cables, and of course, a setup manual, which is good because I've never used something like this before. All right, more packing supplies. Yeah, nothing was going to happen to this during shipment, that's for sure. Plug. And we have our air pump and our exhaust hose. Whoops. I knocked that out. Wow, lots of packing. And we're taking no chances, that's for sure. Here's a sample. I think that's for camera setup, actually. And more packing. I think a gorilla could have threw this around and it still would have been perfectly fine because it is packaged very well. Let's move the camera out of the way. Our door and our door. Now these have safety switches on them, so when you do open it up, it immediately will stop what it's doing, so there's no damage to the eyes. All right, so here's the side of the machine here. You have a Type-C hookup. You'll have a hookup from here, which comes with it, to USB to your computer, or you can use a Type-C adapter. That's the air inlet. We'll show you the air inlet in a moment. This is an optional rotary kit for doing round objects that would plug into here. There's a lockout that does come with a key. That's also for your air pump there. And of course your power. On-off switch. There's an emergency stop switch and start. So that's a nice feature to have on here. On the back of the machine, they do of course give you the duct hose, and your air will go onto here and will exhaust to the outside. But I did get the optional air box with it so you can do it inside the house to make things easier. Now I must admit, and I will say, I have watched some other videos on this so I could understand that it's supposed to be plug and play. This machine's heavy. This is not a toy. This is not some plastic piece of junk. It obviously was very well constructed, and it is heavy though, I'm just letting you know. Yes, you can lift it and carry it around, but it's not a piece of plastic. This thing was constructed very well. The doors move very smoothly. You could tell it was built very nicely. I will say I was a little skeptical until I got it here, but this is a very nice machine. It really is. The construction, seamless. They did a nice job. So let's go ahead and start hooking it up. Now, here's the contents of the package. We did get they gave me one clamp for the duct hose, so I hope there's some more in the air filtration box. We will see. There's Allen heads here for the adjustment of the camera. Here's a little, I don't know what this is actually called, but it tells the camera at what depth you're at so that it can go ahead and engrave properly by the thickness of the material. It's a measuring tool technically. Keys for shut off, your air pump, hose for the air pump, USB-C to USB connector, but they do give you an adapter in case you don't have a USB hookup on the side of your computer, which is nice. Looks like little wipes, and we have our power supply. So let me show you how it goes together. All right, so we have our little keys. They're like a barrel type key, and that will lock and unlock it. I'll just leave it locked for right now. And let's go ahead and hook up our air pump supply. So that basically just goes right in there, plugs in very easily, of course. And I guess this stayed, oh no, they had a cap, they capped it off. There is our air pump hose. Fits nice and snug, that's a good thing. And that plugs right onto there. So our air pump is hooked up, and it powers itself through the machine to the air pump, so there's not an extra plug. Alrighty, let's hook our power supply up, see which way it goes on, just like that. And then of course your plug goes into this, and then into the outlet of your wall. Cut and dry. This is what hooks up to the computer. All right, let's get our air duct hose out. That is a heavy hose. Nice quality. Very nice quality. Now remember, if you don't have an air filter box like I have here, I'll show you in a moment, this needs ventilated to the outside. But I won't need to do that, so that's kind of nice. They sell that separately. So let's get this on here. Okay, that's nice and tight. Let's get the air box out. All right, let's open up. It says smoke purifier because you do get a little bit of smoke and fumes when you're doing engraving. I call it an air box, a fresh air box. So let's go ahead and open this up. This is a nice addition. I couldn't actually do it inside my garage with some cool stuff because I didn't, it's wintertime, plain and simple. I needed something for the inside of the house. So that's where this comes in handy. So let's go ahead and get it out of here. Cool. Give me 1 second. Came with a little accessory box and an adapter, cord, another cord, another duct hose, and more clamps. So let's see how this hooks up. All right, this is actually a bigger machine than I thought it was. This is actually really nice. It's a little bit heavy too, but then again, if you want quality, things are going to be a little heavier. So I see what they did here. They designed this where your duct hose goes on here, and then this adapter goes right into the machine. So that's perfect. The clamps have thumb screws, which is helpful. So we're going to go ahead and hook the ductwork up to this. All right, this is called a smoke purifier, but anyhow, air purifier. This is good for 3D printing also. So if you're doing 3D printing out of your house, you might want to get something like this. Has filters built into it. I ain't going to pull it all out and take it apart, but I think that's the biggest part of the weight to it is the filtration system. So very easily changeable. Very nice system. I will say that. Keeps all the particles from getting into your bloodstream. You know what I mean? I'm not a health expert, but if you're doing 3D printing, engraving, you're going to want something like this. There's no doubt. Let's hook it up to the machine and get rolling. All right, so the machine is plugged in. Let's hit our power button. I just want to hear this smoke purifier. Okay. Now this will tell like parts per million, stuff like that. Now I don't know how well you can hear this, but it's on high right now. There's 3 positions. So there is low. Let's let it calm down a second. There's medium. It's actually hooked up to the machine right now. I already put the duct hose on. And there's high. This thing is, I did watch some reviews on it. It's very strong. So if we turn it back down, and it'll go down to low. And it tells parts per million, particulates, things like that. Now, you can use this with a 3D printer, which is vital if you're inside the house, or of course, you know, with our engraving machine here. The filters, I guess you can either get them online. I don't know if they're washable. I didn't look into that yet. And if you see the Wi-Fi blinking, I'm not going to bother doing that. I don't need to. But you can hook this to your phone with your Wi-Fi, and it will go ahead and tell you the contaminants, you know, and what's going on with the purifying. I won't need to do that, of course. So let's move on to the engraving machine now that we got everything hooked up. All right, so we are at their website. The link is down in the description for the download software. I plugged into my USB from the USB-C Type-C on the machine. I did power the machine on. Now, obviously, if you have Mac or Windows, you know what to do. I have Windows, so we are downloading. And that'll take a couple seconds here. Okay, so it's finished downloading. Drop our browser down, go into my downloads folder, and there is the software. So let's go ahead and install it. And we do have the machine turned on. Click yes. And welcome to 1.1a setup. Okay, so it's going to install into the program files folder. Next, accept. Come on, there we go. Ready to install. Moves pretty quick installing it, although I do have a little bit of a newer system. Okay, so finish, and the software is installed. All right, now on our desktop, there's our icon. Let's click on that. All right, so let's tap beginner, and there are your items. We are the Creality Falcon A1. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to run you through things that I already did about hooking up the cables. So, and obviously I've already done all that. So we're going to hit connect. All right, I don't know how loud that is, but the emergency stop button was automatically engaged out of the box, which was really not a good idea. So let me see here, connect. Device is connected. Okay, now we're going to go to next step and place materials. Okay, so it's telling me, it's prompting me to place a material and to run a test run on it. Here was a honeycomb that they sent along with it. And what you're doing, I'll open this up for now, and we'll open the front, is you're placing this in there, because what that does, you don't have to use it, but it keeps from scratching the bottom up from the laser. So we're going to get a piece of material. All right, we're going to place our material in here. Now this does wood, plastic, metal, and this is bowed. This is twisted. Great. All right, well, I'll try my best. We have our spacer block for adjustment. So I'm going to set that there. You're going to go to the highest point for this size. We're going to loosen our thumb screws, and we're going to let it rest on the highest point of the block. Once you do that, tighten thumb screws. I'm trying to be easy, although this is all pretty much heavy metal stuff. So it's pretty sturdy. Okay. We're going to pull that out. We're going to close this and this because the machine will not run with it opened. So it's showing to put the material in and set everything up. Now, I got ahead of the game there a little bit. We already put our block in, so it's walking you through. And we already did our adjustments like I showed you. So we're going to click frame, and you can see it functioning. All right, so it's framing it and getting an idea. I'm not an expert with these, like I said. Okay, I clicked start process on my screen, and it's going to just kind of, let me turn my air purifier on so that it starts pulling that out. And we're going to go ahead, and this is just a little test run. That's all this is. It should only take like 1 minute, so I'm not going to speed the film up so you can get an idea of how it works. So let's let it roll a second here. Got about 15 seconds left. You could see the smoke coming off of it in there. But thankfully, they sent the smoke purifier box that's pulling it out. I smell nothing in my kitchen, is where I'm at right now, because my office is messy. I smell nothing, see no smoke, nothing at all. It's actually moving fairly fast. Now remember, you can do wood, metal, acrylic, plastics. You can do a lot of things with these. It can actually cut a shape out. And it's almost done. Okay, that was a complete test run. Let me turn the box off. As soon as you open the lid, of course, it turns it off. I can hear the air pump running in there. Guess I could easily pull it out the front, huh? Now this was just a very generic test run, but as you can see, that actually it etched down into it. It's kind of hard to show on camera, but it etched down inside of it. That's the Falcon sign. So that actually came out really good, in all honesty. Okay, now the test was complete. I showed you what, now that was a very, very mild sample. So let's start exploring. So what do we have here? We have a lot of different things to choose from. Now, obviously, once you get better at this, you can upload your own things. Like I was going to use my logo for my website and do an engraving on chrome, things of that nature. However, let's see what we have here to choose from. Okay, so we're in our software here, and we want to calibrate the camera. So this here looks like something like you're reading with eyeglasses. That came with the kit. So we're going to hit camera calibration, and you can see you're going to put it to different spots inside the machine. So we're going to go ahead, open it up. We're going to put it to the top left first, and we're going to click Get Image. All right, it grabbed it. Now it wants to move to the center. And you're working with these lines, so you could tell about where the center would be. Always close the lid though, just in case the machine would freak out and turn on. I grab that image to the right. I'm going to speed the camera up because you see what I'm doing now. Okay, so we have the camera calibrated so far, so we'll go to the next step. So I'm just going to flip this over and put this in. Let me center this here. This wood is warped, so I hope that doesn't cause an issue. Okay, remember, I'm winging it here, folks. So what do we do? Click the frame to ensure the material is positioned accurately. I'll click that, and the machine is doing something. Now this is set up for 3mm because that's about typical for engraving. Okay, so it's doing a test run. I did turn the air purifier on. And as you see, it's doing this right here. So I'll speed up the film a minute here. Okay, so we got to click the center points. So we will do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we did complete that, and we are getting closer to engraving. Now remember, you're not going to have to do this all the time. We're just setting everything up to function properly. Okay, so I want to put the honeycomb back in. I want to try something here. Now remember, oh, shut up. I'm a beginner, so don't judge me. I want to put this in here. I guess the camera holds calibration, I'm hoping. Let's try something here a minute. So I already have 3mm basswood board in there, as you can see. I want to try to import my logo. I want to see if it'll do it. So yes, we wanted the size to it. What I technically did was I have the wood in there. You can see the photo of the wood, so it's centered. I pulled an image in that's from my YouTube channel. And my wife helped me here, I'll admit that. She centered the logo in there, and I can show you the layers a little later, the settings for it. So I'm going to click start, but I'm going to put the camera over near there so you can watch it rock and roll when I click the start button. Okay, I'm going to click start. Are we ready? Hopefully we did it right. We'll find out in a second. We just turned our fan on because my wife reminded me, so we don't get choked out. Now remember, I'm new to this, so in all sincerity, I'm doing the best I can setting it up, but I must say it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Now, some of you techies and nerds, you know, and I'm not making fun of anybody, could probably have got on this in about 3 minutes. But for me, never doing it before, I must admit, once I learned a few things, I did watch a couple videos, I'll admit that, it did make it a little easier. So I'm going to speed this up because it could take about 30 minutes. So I'm going to speed it up with some music, and I will be right back. Okay, so it finished up. Let's take a look. Now remember, folks, I've never used one before, so keep the laughter to a minimum. Let's take a peek. We'll go over to the computer. Always close your lid when you're done in case there's some type of weird incident. So let's come over to the computer. All right, now, bear in mind, I'm new to this. There's a lot of settings because when you go to layers, you can start setting up the outlines better and things of that nature. I'm new. So it actually dug in. It did a complete duplicate. Now, this is dark on mine. If I had set the settings a little better, you would have seen the outlines much more in the highlights. So that's my fault, not the engravers. But for me being a first timer, I must admit, that actually come out pretty cool. Now you can do plastics, you can do metal. I wanted to do glove box lids with it on the Beetles. But all in all, it come out really nice. I just need to learn how to do the highlighting. That way, coming down the fender line, the door lines, it would have done a much better job. So that was me, not the machine. But I must admit, it's not as hard to use as I thought it would be. I was actually pretty impressed by this. It's just a matter of learning, which was not really hard. All right, I want to try another one now because this will drive me nuts. But I will speed up the film, so don't worry. We're going to try the members logo. So let me set this in the machine. All right, so the wood is in the machine. I'm going to import here our club logo. And I'm going to have to size that down a little bit. Just for right now, give me a second here. We're going to go to the camera, take a snapshot of the wood in there, and let's scale this down. Move it to where I want it. See if I can get it a little bigger. Okay, so we're going to give this a test run, and let's hit start and see what it does. Okay, I am going to speed the film up super fast so you don't have to wait to see it. So sit back. This will take a few seconds. There we go, that's better. There was a burn spot here. I don't really know why that happened, but this is all user error. I am not used to doing stuff like this, but it actually came out pretty good. There are settings all throughout here that would have actually enhanced and made all the lines, you know, much brighter and cleaner so you could see everything. But that was me that caused that. But it does work very nice. You just got to learn to set the settings up. I should have probably watched some more YouTube clips on that and read the directions better. But I was basically doing a quick review, and the machine works amazing. Technically, if I could learn to use it a little better, I would have stuff that looks just off the hook. So in a nutshell, truthfully, this was mostly user error for the quality that I was putting out, because I watched other YouTube clips who are much better than me at doing this, and they looked beautiful. They even cut the images out and everything. So truthfully, do I think the machine is great? 2 thumbs up. It is a nice machine. The smoke purifier, or I call air filtration system, worked amazing. No odor at all. The machine is solid. It's heavy, constructed very well. And like I said, once again, not to be repetitive, but if I was to take out the time for a couple of weeks and learn the settings, I would have stuff coming out of there like artwork, plastic, metal, wood, pretty much anything I wanted to. So It's going to take time to learn, so I'll do a follow-up one later. But thank you for being here. I know this was offbeat for my channel, but I felt the need to show this because I really got some good ideas to do with it. Thanks for being here, folks. I'll see you next time.